I, Jyotsna Raghunathan, I'm a faculty member from Pearl Academy, and I wish to welcome all of you here on behalf of Maharaja Agrasen Institute as well as Pearl Academy for this wonderful opportunity of discussing various career options. As I said, it's indeed a privilege and a pleasure to be here with so many beautiful young faces, so much enthusiasm shining over here, and we are honored that your esteemed chairman of Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies, Dr. Nand Kishore Garg, as well as the esteemed director, Dr. M.K. Bhatt, have graced us with their presence here today. Dr. Nand Kishore Garg, Chairman Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies, is a senior BJP leader and ex-MLA from Trinagar Assembly constituency in Delhi. He has been involved in various noble causes related to the development and betterment of Delhi, as well as adjoining states such as Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, and Rajasthan. He was honored with Best MLA Award 1998 to 2003 by Delhi Assembly on 17th June 2003. He was Parliamentary Secretary of Chief Minister Shri Sahib Singh Verma. He has been honored with D.Litt degree by one of the oldest universities of India, Gurukul University, Haridwar. Dr. Nand Kishore Garg is also the Chancellor of Maharaja Agrasen University, an active member of Samkalp, Founder Chairman Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Technology, Founder Chairman Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies, Founder Chairman Maharaja Agrasen University, Founder Chairman Shri Agrasen Urban Cooperative, Founder and Chief Patron Maharaja Agrasen Hospital, Punjabi Bagh, New Delhi. And these are not the only accolades, there are far, far many more. However, I would also like to welcome Dr. M.K. Bhatt, Director of your esteemed institution. Dr. Bhatt currently is working as the Director in Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies, Sector 22, Rohini, Delhi. Courses dealt with are BBA, B&I, BCom Honours, and BJMC. He has also worked as the Principal in New Delhi Institute of Management, Tughlakabad Institutional Area, New Delhi. Prior to that, worked as Program Director at APJ Institute of Management and Information Technology, Dwarka, New Delhi. He has taught numerous students of postgraduate and graduate programs and guided their research projects. I would like to now invite Dr. M.K. Bhatt on stage to please come and give the welcome address and open this glorious career conclave. Dr. Bhatt, I request you to please come on stage.
A very good afternoon to everybody. It's a matter of great honor to host this conclave. I feel delighted to have this conclave. I would like to, first of all, pay my respects for the esteemed guests, Dr. Nand Kishore Garg, for sparing his time, Mr. T.R. Garg, General Secretary Mates, Mr. Jagdish Mittalji, and Abhinavji for sparing their time for this conclave. Creative conclave encompasses various things within its ambit. Although we will be restricting it to job prospects, investment opportunities, required training for all these things, and the like things. Creativity for what? Creativity for developing citizens. Creativity for developing you people into successful people of this country. Success in itself is a word which needs quite explanation, otherwise it turns an ambiguous term in itself. Success to me means when the last man on the brink says, that I want you. When the last man on the brink says that I value you. When you are in the prime, everyone is there to be around you. But when a person who has lost the hope of life says that I require this person, that is real success. That is intrinsic success. Yesterday, I want to bring this thing in your light. Yesterday, some of our teachers had gone to a particular place for social work. Therein, they came across tragic people who have been left by the society, and the word they said, we want not only you to come, but we would like to see Dr. Nandkishore also with you. Though teachers could not assure, that is the real meaning of success. The last man has a feeling to see or to listen the solace from the person. That I mean a successful person. I am delighted today to have amongst us the person who started from a small town, that's Varanasi, and made his success in Paris Fashion Show. Success to me means branding and unbranded perspective. We have a highly branding personality among us. Success to me means coming from any other country, sparing time and talking to the budding brains for their betterment. Creative Conclave. Our Prime Minister has recently come out with a concept. The line he gave us is startup. It's a big jargon itself. Startup can be possible only when institutions synergize, when they come together and show their possibilities to the students that these are the ways in which you can prosper. To me, Creative Conclave shall lament on it. I also believe that generally people take fashion as glamour, but fashion is a big business. Fashion is a job provider. Fashion involves creativity. Fashion means time-bound work. I've started my career from a fashion institute, so I know how time-bound people have to be. The order comes, the worker, the manager, all have to put in their hard work. Today, we are highly in a way, we should be thankful to all the organizers for showing us the way forward. It is an area wherein rate of investment is low and rate of return is high. It is an area wherein job prospects are high in the coming years. The economy is growing. This sector naturally will grow in the days to come. When we talk of conclave, I would appreciate the students and when they will put their questions, their doubts regarding this industry, regarding the doings, regarding the struggle people make to make their definition in the market. And with these words, I feel not to waste much time in between you and the people from various areas. Wish that all the success for this conclave. Thank you. It is definitely to muster enough courage to invite esteemed persons like Dr. Nandkishore Garg on the stage. May everyone give a big round of applause for a person of such strength. As you have already, there is nothing to say more, as many of you or even parents may be telling about the great personality in front of you people right now. I would like to invite him for his precious words to start the conclave.
महाराजा अग्रसेन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मैनेजमेंट स्टडीज़ के डायरेक्टर डॉक्टर भट्ट, पर्ल एकेडमी से आए हुए मेरे सभी फैकल्टी मेंबर, डायरेक्टर्स की मुझे ज़्यादा डेजिग्नेशन का नहीं मालूम, मेम्स के सभी फैकल्टी मेंबर्स, स्टूडेंट्स, हमारे जनरल सेक्रेटरी इंजीनियर टी.आर. गर्ग साहब, वाइस चेयरमैन श्री जगदीश मित्तल जी, इंजीनियर श्री अश्विनी अग्रवाल जी, पर्ल एकेडमी देश के अंदर विद्यार्थियों को एक अच्छी एजुकेशन देने के साथ साथ जॉब प्रोवाइडर बनाने का जो काम पिछले अनेकों वर्षे कर रहे हैं, उस कार्य के लिए उनका अभिनंदन है। देश में इस आवश्यकता को देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने बहुत अच्छी ढंग से समझा है और इसीलिए पिछले 2.5 साल से इस थीम को लेके आगे चल रहे हैं कि हम नई पीढ़ी को जॉब प्रोवाइडर बने। केवल नौकरी चाहने वाले लोगों से इतने बड़े देश में 125 करोड़ लोगों को सबको नौकरियां नहीं दी जा सकती, परंतु आज के इस विश्व में अनेकों नई चीज़ें निकल के आ रही हैं जो पिछले 20-25 साल में एक बहुत बड़ा परिवर्तन आया है। उस परिवर्तन के अंदर हम भी साझीदार बने, उसके अंदर पार्टिसिपेट करें और अपने देश को आगे बढ़ाएं। भारत इस विश्व के अंदर सबसे पुराना देश है। सबसे पहले कपड़े पहनने की सलीका किसी ने दिया तो भारत देश है। सबसे पहले कॉटन से वस्त्र बन सकते हैं, ये कुछ सिखाने वाले हम हैं। इससे पहले जंगलों में रहने वाले लोग पत्तों से या खालों से अपने शरीर को ढकते थे, परंतु भारत के हमारे उन कुशल कारीगरों ने हजारों साल पहले कपड़े का ईजाद किया और इतना बारीक तक बनाया कि अंगूठी में से पूरा थान निकल सकता था, ऐसी मलमल हमने बनाए और उसी में से डिज़ाइन निकलता है। डिज़ाइन कुछ समय की आवश्यकता से निकलता है, कुछ दुनिया को देख के निकलता है। नरेंद्र भाई कुर्ता पहनते थे और कुर्ता बाजू कोहनी से फट सकता है या आगे से घिस सकता है, तो उन्होंने उसमें से आधी बाजू का कुर्ता निकाला, तो आज वो फैशन बन गया। नेहरू जी भी जैकेट पहनते, परंतु आज मोदी जी ने उस जैकेट को एक फैशन का हिस्सा बना दिया और रशिया, चाइना, साउथ अफ्रीका, ब्राज़ील के राष्ट्रपति या हेड ऑफ स्टेट को भी आपने देखा वो 3 दिन पहले सबको जैकेट पहना के एक किस्म से रैंप के ऊपर ले। ये है आवश्यकता के अनुसार अपने देश की ब्रांडिंग करना, जो अभी आज पूरा दिन आप लोग सीखेंगे। दूसरी तरफ कई बार मैं सोचता हूँ कि आज फटी हुई जीन पहनने का फैशन क्यों आया। जीन का तो मुझे मालूम है कि यूरोप में मेहनत कश लोग जो रोज़ाना धुलाई नहीं कर सकते थे, वहाँ रोज़ाना नहाने का भी रिवाज नहीं था और गंदी हो जाए बिना क्रीज की हो तो जीन पहनने की तो समझ में आती है, परंतु आज फटी हुई जीन और वो भी बड़ी महंगी ला के जो बच्चे पहनते हैं, तो मैं तो आज तक समझ नहीं पाया, कहीं से पूछा भी कि ये कौन सा फैशन। फैशन वो होना चाहिए जो शरीर के अच्छा भी लगे, आवश्यकता के अनुसार भी हो और जिससे कुछ बचत भी हो। मानो आधा कुर्ता पहनने से कम आधा गज कपड़ा तो बचा, फटी जीन पहनने से तो कुछ नहीं बचा, एक भोंडापन के अलावा कुछ नहीं लगता। इसलिए जो आप होने वाले समय के फैशन डिज़ाइनर हैं, समय के अनुसार ऐसी चीज़ों पे भी ध्यान देंगे कि हमारे अनुकूल क्या चीज़ है और हमारे देश के अनुकूल भी हो, मौसम के अनुकूल भी हो। आखिर काला रंग गर्मी में पहने, हम तो साइंस के स्टूडेंट रहे हैं, हमें शुरू से ये पढ़ा था या समझा था कि काला रंग गर्मी में नहीं पहनना चाहिए, परंतु आज फैशन से काला रंग गर्मी में पहनने लग गए। काला कपड़ा यदि आप 3 साल बिना पहने रख दें तो 3 साल के अंदर वो इतना कमज़ोर हो जाएगा कि उसको हाथ से आप जरा सा भी करेंगे फट जाएगा। तो अब ये सब चीज़ें भी फैशन का करते करते जितने फैकल्टी के मेंबर्स हैं जो इन सब चीज़ों में ध्यान देते हैं, मैं समझता हूँ थोड़ा थोड़ा ध्यान इन चीज़ों की ओर भी दें कि हम चीज़ों को अपने अनुसार इस ढंग से ढालेंगे कि वो फैशन भी लगे, नयापन भी लगे और अच्छा भी लगे। और नवीनता तो ज़रूरी है, इसीलिए ज़्यादा कपड़े आदमी खरीदता है कि उसको आवश्यकता उतनी नहीं है। आज नीड बेस परचेजेज नहीं है, आज फैशन के कारण से इसलिए परचेज है कि जाना है मॉल में या मार्केट में तो कुछ लेना है, और कुछ लेना है तो नयापन होगा तो खरीदेगा आदमी। इसलिए वो समय की आवश्यकता है, एज ए बिजनेस प्रोस्पेक्ट में समझता हूँ ज़रूरी है। पर उन सब चीज़ों का ओवरऑल ध्यान रखते हुए हम जॉब प्रोवाइडर बने। मैं भी वॉलीबॉल टूर्नामेंट का उद्घाटन था, हमारे 6ठी बार कर रहे हैं। मुझे देख के अच्छा लगा कि आधे से ज़्यादा विद्यार्थी शिव नरेश की जैकेट पहने हुए थे। अब शिव नरेश मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी करमपुरा के एक बहुत ही साधारण परिवार, एक क्वार्टर में रहने वाले जिनके पिताजी DCM के अंदर वर्कर थे। उन्होंने एक ब्रांड को 25 साल में इतना बड़ा बना दिया कि कॉमनवेल्थ के खेलों में भी शिव नरेश के लोग पहनने लग गए, स्पोर्ट्स वियर, और सब जगह पहनते हैं। तो कोई भी आदमी कुछ भी बन सकता है, इसलिए एनॉर्मस अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हैं। केवल आपके अंदर 3 चीज़ें तो आपने लिखी 3 बार सी, कमिट, करेज और कंपैशनेट और हो जाएंगे आप। तो मैं समझता हूँ कि निश्चित तौर पर जीवन में सफलता प्राप्त करेंगे। और सफलता प्राप्त करना हर व्यक्ति को अच्छा लगता है, उसको भी अच्छा लगता है, उसके माँ बाप को, दोस्तों को और उनके टीचर्स को भी। इसलिए आप आज का दिन जो यहाँ लगाएंगे, हमारे स्टूडेंट्स भी कुछ न कुछ सीखने की कोशिश करें और सीख कर अपने जीवन में उतारें। इन शुभकामनाओं के साथ मैं कॉन्क्लेव की सफलता की कामना करता हूँ। जय हिंद।
Thank you very much, Dr. Nandkishore Garg and Dr. M.K. Bhatt, for your such inspiring and beautifully expressed words. I would now like to invite our speakers up on stage. Our first speaker for today is Dr. Schmidt. Dr. Schmidt has lived, studied and worked in England, Germany, Austria, Israel and the US. She comes to India with an international perspective and over 18 years of work experience in interior design, the heritage and education sector. She got a PhD from the University of Oxford, where she was a senior scholar and tutor. Dr. Schmidt has worked as a historic houses and interiors consultant, gained expertise in European decorative arts at museums in Europe and North America, was a lecturer in history of interior design for Technical University in Vienna, and has received an offer as visiting scholar at Harvard University. She has lectured globally and received prizes for her work from Oxford, New York, Berlin, and Jerusalem. She is also a recipient of the Austin Prize for services in European decorative arts. Dr. Schmidt is now with Pearl Academy as a senior faculty member and area head. She has made it her life's passion to advance and propagate interior design all over the world, and is keen to research and integrate local traditions of interiors into her design schemes. In her spare time, she loves to visit historic houses and gardens, and is passionate about Asian art, especially Indian textiles. Dr. Schmidt, I would like to invite you up on stage, please. I would like to invite you to please be a part of the panel on the day. Our next speaker is Mr. Dheeraj Khanna. Mr. Dheeraj Khanna belongs to the School of Creative Business, Pearl Academy. Dheeraj brings over 10 years of diverse experience from business consulting, sales and marketing. Starting with Ernst & Young post-MBA, he was part of advisory teams across India, Germany, USA and the UK, advising some of the leading companies of the world in improving operational performance. He went on to hold strategic positions at the luxury conglomerate Louis Vuitton, Moët Hennessy, watch brand Tag Heuer, and leading health club chain Fitness First, playing a key role in the brand's India growth story. Dheeraj is an MBA from Cass Business School, London, a graduate from Delhi University, and attended marketing summer school at Northwest Missouri State University. I would like to invite Mr. Dheeraj Khanna up on stage, please. We are awaiting one more speaker, whom you will be introduced to very shortly. In the meantime, let us learn a little bit about Pearl Academy. Game of Thrones. Okay. So yes, which throne will you take up when you study a variety of different courses that we are going to be discussing in today's conclave? Okay, what is it that all of you, you're all studying, you're all students. What drives you? What motivates you? Is it a glorious career, money, parent satisfaction, or put it all together and you get happiness? Thank you very much. We are all aspiring to be somebody, and be somebody is the benchmark or the logo or the tagline with which we are working today at Pearl Academy. How can we help? How many of you have heard of Pearl Academy? Quite a few. What do you know it for? Fashion. So you're right, so our flagship program is fashion designing. We are in fact not only an expert at fashion designing, but we also are an expert in teaching the business of design. Design is all around you, okay? Just as your esteemed professors, the chairman sir, were talking, they were talking about design being seen in every sphere of life, from politics to economy to luxury, you name it, wherever you look at it, it's all based, the base, the core, the seed is design. And therefore, anything that is as prevalent and as all-encompassing as design will inherently create a number of careers to go with it. Let's look at a few awesome careers that you'll fall in love with. Stylist, okay? A fashion stylist dresses up their favorite stars. What other kinds of stylists do you have? The opportunities for a stylist. You have advertising, you have television, you have films, you have brand stylists, photo stylists and interior stylists. The average starting salary, you can see it up there, 40,000. And imagine the fun and the glamour that you work with side by side. Isn't it a rewarding experience? You have some of our Pearl alumni. Astha Sharma of Pearl styled Aishwarya for Khan, which is a huge, huge achievement. Karishma and Akanshi Chopra of Pearl style Kangana Ranaut in the movie Queen. You can see their names in the credits. The second interesting career we're talking about, illustration. You can be an illustrator. How many of you sit and doodle? Some of you must be doodling even now. As we are speaking, chalta ja raha hai pen. Am I right? Yeah? Why not make it a career? You have the creativity. Opportunities, you have publishing houses, you have blogs, you have online content, advertising. You can become a professional illustrator, illustrating books, magazines and so on. You can become a graphic designer. You can become an art director. Again, your average starting salaries are 25 to 30,000 and that's just the beginning. Believe me, it goes up phenomenally from there. And of course, you're doing what you love. It's not a burden. You're not mugging up or preparing for something that you're very uncomfortable with, but you're actually taking forward what your passion is. Yeah, some of the work by our alumni. This was our own student, Kanika Nair, and her work got published by the renowned Karadi Tales, and you can see some of her illustrative work. Shruti Singhal, who is an alumna of the School of Communication, Media and Film, which is the school that I belong to at Pearl Academy. She got her book published. This started off as a student project, was seen at our graduation show by publishers and was appreciated so much that they went on to take it up and actually publish it, and now it's there as a commercial success. Design and social service together. This is something that this image I love, because can you make out what the bottles are? Your everyday Pepsi, Coke bottles, okay? You take something like that and create such an eco-friendly, sustainable sense, such an eco-friendly environment which beautifies your home or your office, okay? Good use of two things together. Again, opportunities with UN bodies and NGOs, government programs, schemes, communications consultant and an expert, as an art designer or a concept designer. Again, I don't need to state the starting salary, it's all over there, okay? And it's creativity that makes an impact on society and contributes to the well-being, the holistic goodness of the planet. Some more of our alumni. This young student came up with braille tags for blind shoppers. How amazing is that? So they can go shopping, they can read the tags on their own. This is Arushi Kilawat. Another avenue that you could explore, and you'll be hearing much more about this, I'm sure, with Dr. Schmidt, creating top-worthy homes and interiors. Opportunities with architectural firms, interior designing outfits, real estate groups, interior designers, set designers. Many of our students have gone on to work with Bollywood films in the capacity of set designers, or an interior stylist. And we have one more of our alumna. This is Pallavi. Pallavi has gone on to do several different kinds of achievements. She's an interior design student. She gave a new lease of life to abandoned blue line buses. Can you imagine that? All of you see the blue lines, all of you complain about it, all of us think about, oh, blue line, why is it like this? Why can't it be better? Why can't it look like, you know, those wonderful, beautiful buses that we see in other parts of the world? Well, here's somebody who took that thought and actually made good use of it. And now, our new offerings at Pearl Academy. All of these courses I've talked about are courses that are running, and I've shown you that we have students who have already done these courses and passed out and are in the industry. And now we are coming up with a new bouquet of courses in completely new areas. We have sports management, which I think is a complete first. I doubt that there is any other college in India offering this. And for, how many of you are football fans? Lot of the young men I see, and many of the young women. That's heartening. Well, you've all heard of Real Madrid, yeah? So we have a tie-up, a strategic partnership with Real Madrid to run this particular course. And of course, the opportunities are plentiful with so much happening with the collaboration between the entertainment industry and the sports industry. And you have your league games, you have your IPL, your Pro Kabaddi, you have your ISL. So all of these are areas where we are hoping that our students, or we are projecting our students to find wonderful opportunities. Be spoiled for choice, because that's how many choices we give you in careers. Okay. Another unique offering, and I'm sure Mr. Dheeraj will be telling you more about this. We have careers in luxury brand management, and you can see some of the career options there. You could be a luxury brand manager, a luxury store manager, luxury shopping consultant, publicity and luxury PR expert, or a luxury buyer and a merchandiser. Some of the visuals that you can see of some of the kind of work that our alumni get into. We have courses in fashion communication. I'm sure some of you are BJMC students here. Yes. Yes? Well, this is a niche specialization that may appeal to many of you, because you're looking at a career as a fashion journalist, or you could move into the area of fashion PR professionals, fashion editors, or you could look at fashion events, which is a huge market these days. We have careers in accessories and jewelry design, and you can see the different courses that we run, the options that we have as careers. Careers in retail, store managers, visual and retail merchandisers, marketing and sales managers. Many of you are doing your BBA. You know where this leads you further on. We have careers in interior design and styling as home stylists, home furnishing and interior decorators. Careers in interior architecture and design, where you are interior architects, exhibition designers, set designers, or retail environment designers. So ultimately, our bottom line is you can be what you want to be. Some of our courses, I'm not going to I'll run you through many of them, so I'm just going to leave the slide there for a few seconds so that you absorb it. And some of the people with whom we have partnerships. These people mentor us, guide us, advise us, and work hand in hand with us in many cases. Our students not only study here, we have very strong and healthy partnerships across the globe. We also have international faculty, as you yourself can see. These are some of the students who went to different events, different courses. Be showcased, be famous, be picked up by the best. These are the brands which offer us placement. Okay, these are the kind of statistics that we're looking at. 96% placements overall, 500 plus companies on campus. Our faculty has been repeatedly rated as the best in India, and we have various different kinds of other milestones that we are very proud of. And more than anything else, be happy. With that thought of being happy and being somebody, I will now invite Dr. Schmidt to come and share with you her thoughts and her advice on various careers that she can talk about. Dr. Schmidt?
I hope you can hear me. I'd like to thank everyone, our hosts, for having us. It's a real honor and pleasure to be here, and I must tell you, it has been my life's dream to live in India. I grew up in a tiny, tiny village in Germany. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about this, because this is also a career path that has to do very much with the profession of interior design. You heard before, I'm area head of interior design, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this field. So, growing up in Germany in a village, interior design is not a career option. you become a teacher or a secretary. That's what people know. And when I was 14 years old, when people are 14 years old, children, they become part of the religious community. So all the smaller children, thank you, they come and visit these children, and they do so because they get a present of a goodie bag with sweets. So I also obviously went to all of these children, and I went and saw the houses of the people in the village very often for the first time. And I thought, this is not how I'm going to live. I never want to live like this. Because in the village, especially after the war, the aspiration is to get rid of all the old stuff and to go to a kind of factory and you say, I want a living room, I want a kitchen, and everything made by somebody else was new and put into your house. And I thought this was really boring. So I said, Grandma, I don't like it. And my grandma said, do you think you're better than anybody else? Why do you think so? And I said, no, Grandma, it's not like this. But I just want to choose my own pieces. So all of these farmers, they threw away their beautiful old pieces, and I was there, you can bet, to get these pieces. And somehow, although I'd never really seen anything, I went to the bigger city, and I picked up some fabrics and other things. And where I grew up in the village, every 5 kilometers, there was a historic house of significance. My grandparents had no interest in that. So I only saw these buildings from outside. There was a huge medieval fortress, and there were tiny castles, and there was a workshop where once in the 18th century, the most famous cabinet makers in all of Europe had their workshop. I mean, that was amazing. But so all my childhood, I was thinking, what does it look like from the inside? So when I was old enough to get a bicycle, I cycled there. And I was so rude, I didn't even wait to ring the doorbell. I just walked in. And what did it look like? I was disappointed. Nothing like what I had imagined all of these years. And that became my lifelong ambition and obsession to see a building and to imagine what it could look like. And another thing, I think we are all entitled to beauty. Just because we come from a small village, it doesn't mean that we have the right to choose an ideal kind of house. And that brings me to a few other things that interior design is about. Having grown up in the village, there was no cinema, nothing, so you're really pretty much cut off from everything. But in the smallest town next by, there was a bookshop. So I just randomly picked books, especially those with pictures in it. And some of the things that stayed with me all my life was this beautiful 18th century philosophy of life, namely the idea of beauty, goodness, and truth. And to this day, this has become a design philosophy, so to say, all of these 3 elements. So this is the kind of larger thing of what interior design is about. Because like my grandma thought, this is only about superficial luxury. I don't think so, because they're the craftspeople who make it. And there's the life that you can make better for people. From a social project to a beautiful old palace, you can change the world with this. You can make a contribution. And I'm going to show you a few images. So, I'm starting, by the way, if you look at this image, do you know where that comes from, that image? Where's that taken? Which country? Do you think that's in Germany? Any ideas? No, it's actually from India. And how do you know? Can you spot anything that's Indian on there? Well, it is the cypress. It's a very old Mughal pattern, and that is the hotel in Jaipur. So, and here we see a few designs. You see also one of my designs, and maybe I've brought a variety of things, images, some of these This is something that I did in Vienna. Yeah, good. If you can't hear me, then just raise your hand and I'll try to change it. So, and this is something which will be a theme in this little talk, namely cultural transfer. And I believe that something like interior design, which you might think is only about buying is actually makes a contribution to world peace. Because although this is in Vienna, it's really a mishmash of different influences. Because this wallpaper is Chinese in origin. And I think people have always dreamed of other worlds and other places. Because our life is hard, you know, there are problems and difficulties, and with interior design you can create an ideal world. And this is the original wallpaper. It was made in the 18th century in Sweden. And here, this is a Haveli in India, in Rajasthan, that was recently restored. Again, you can make a contribution to the cultural heritage. And I want to encourage you, especially from my own experience in the village, where people lost their identity, they lost their traditions. They just went to some big company and had something put in. And I think this is a real pity, because in India especially, with a tradition of beautiful luxury goods that were appreciated all over the world, textiles, jewelry, so many other beautiful objects, I think this is a chance for you to create something uniquely Indian. And I'm very excited because I want to make this a prominent philosophy and ambition in the design school at Pearl, that we will make a contribution to design in the world with an Indian focus. Here, this is also in Delhi, actually, but it has many other influences, and I come back to that because that's what you will learn. You will learn how to look at images and at your world differently, and your design education will change that. And here, again, this is a combination of Asian ideals, spatial design from Japan, and screens from China and Japan that influences this kind of, I would say, cosmopolitan design that is in Amsterdam, actually, by Anushka Hempel. And now that brings us to, we see these beautiful rooms, but behind it, what is actually going on? Who is creating that? Who are these people? And how did interior design as a profession and a discipline really originate? Because it's something very, very young. And I come to that now. Now, what you see here is mainly women. And that is true. Interior design emerged only very, very recently. In India, the first course of interior design only emerged in the 1990s. And again, that was in Ahmedabad. And I feel independent India relied largely on modernist architects from the West. I feel now India is a little different. And I see in many places in India, people are beginning to realize that their own tradition are worth preserving and continuing. And I think this is where the future really lies. So, here we see something, I think, where no one has written about that yet, but I think that was the beginning of interior design. We see a woman here. This was a royal mistress, Madame de Pompadour, in 18th century France. And she shaped the interior design tradition in France and as such, all over Europe. Now, if you look at this picture, how does she want to be portrayed? Okay, you see a woman of exquisite taste, beautiful dress, but don't forget, she came from a humble background and she became the mistress, not only because she was beautiful, but she was clever. What does she have in her hand? A book. Books in the background, and a globe. So these women were highly educated. It was the 18th century with the French Revolution. And again, this relates directly to our times, because the biggest revolution of our times is the knowledge revolution. So don't think that interior design is only about some kind of beautiful surface treatment. Interior design, from the beginning, was associated with the intellect, because that's part of the design process, the conceptualization. It is imagination and intellect and the kind of emotional aspect of atmosphere, creating an atmosphere. That is part of interior design. And how about India? Who was there? And I came across Noor Jahan. And who was that? An empress. Again, a very unusual life story. She was a widow, and her life would have been over, but she was picked by the emperor, and she became empress. And not only that, she was interested also in promoting women's lot, especially widows. She was a fashion designer, landscape designer, and she looked at interiors. If you see her dress is rather revealing, it's something very thin and something that was not worn at this time. So she was very innovative. And from this, from all of this journey, you have the late 19th century, I'll come back to this, and Kelly Hoppen, who's one of the most famous interior designers in the world. And she was also active in creating a few great flats in Mumbai. So, again, this is Madame de Pompadour. I want to show you how she lived. And this was her bedroom. And this was actually a very important time, because it was the time when people thought that privacy was very important. Because at this time, life was not private. Everything was public. Even in the bedroom. The king, when he got up, everybody was there reaching him some piece of cloth, and the most trustworthy person was reaching him his underwear, and the even more trusted person accompanied him to the loo. So privacy is a very, very new phenomenon. So, and I want to show you this, because this is the past. But I believe that interior design and design consists of three elements: the past, the present, and the future that we the vision that we have. So this is a coffee house in Paris that was inspired by Madame de Pompadour and her design. So very concrete, the past influences the future. It's not something that is only gone. And here we have another example. She was the mistress of the Prussian king, and she was also the main interior designer. Of course, women couldn't really have jobs then, but she was in charge of creating the interiors of all Prussian residences. Everything went to her desk first, because before the man who really was in charge executed her will. Now, you think this is just a picture, but it's much more than this portrait, because it shows how daring she was. Again, she came from a very humble background. Her father was just a simple court musician, but she was one of the most educated women of her time. She was sent to Italy on the Grand Tour and to Paris. She studied art abroad. And she has a dog here. This is an Italian greyhound. But you should know that only the king was allowed to have that dog, and commoners were not allowed. So she was bold. She said, "I don't care about this." And she was very, very courageous. Now, these were the interiors that she created, and that represents the most fashionable and modern kind of design that you had at this time. And here she studied the books of Cook and how he traveled and explored the world. And this exploration and her reading is depicted in the design, and that brings you to a concept. Design is only good when you have an interesting life, when you go beyond, when you open your horizon, and when you start learning all the time. And if all of this, and the humility to understand your client, because that's what you have to do. You do something for another person. It's a beautiful thing, very rewarding, and I can't think of anything nicer that I would do in my life. So this is again Noor Jahan in comparison, and again you see the cypress, right? And this is where it comes from. That's a design she did of a tomb for her father. And I said that I believe interior design helps to build peace among countries and nations. And I wanted to show you what I mean by this. So Noor Jahan, she was very interested in art from abroad. So she studied, for instance, in the 17th century, art from Europe. And this is a botanical print from Europe. Now, and look what happened in India. This is an Indian miniature painting, and I think it's just delightful and lovely. This is much more kind of scientific in a way. But reading this and misunderstanding this created something new and innovative and beautiful, this stylized daisy here. And so I just want to show you and give you an example how cultures can stimulate each other and influence each other in a positive way. So this is the kind of modern designer. It was called interior decorator in the late 19th century. And you see, again, this is Elsie de Wolf. She was actually paid, and she was a businesswoman. And she wrote a book. Again, you see interior design, book writing, and learning goes hand in hand. And also, when you see, it's the element of creating a paradise at home. Because you could already see in the Mughal period, they loved plants and flowers in the garden, which was regarded as something divine. And you see that too, because this is actually a trellis that comes from the garden, and she brought it into the house. This was actually the first women's club. So, besides this kind of creation of beautiful interiors, there was a political attempt. There was a social motivation to make women's life better. And again, I wanted to show you, this is something that is not over, but she keeps inspiring people. So this is actually a design from now, relying and interpreting Elsie de Wolf's design. You should know that Elsie de Wolf was also very interested in animal prints. So you will actually learn as a designer that you don't only think, I like this or I like that, but you really broaden your horizon. You are beginning to understand, emerged in the late 19th century, and I tell you why. And often people ask me, what's the difference between interior design and interior decoration? And the thing is, decoration doesn't refer to decorating something in a shop. It actually refers to decorative art. And decorative art means objects of utility. Furniture, glass, anything that you would use in a house, understood as an art form on a very high and sophisticated level. So this is something new, somehow in between, and I tell you why this happened. So, this is what design looked like in the late 19th century. And do you think this is good design? Do you like it?
Yes.
Well, I don't. I think it's very ugly. And it's cluttered and just full of stuff. And that was the result kind of the Industrial Revolution. Factory-made stuff. And who was responsible for this? No designer, but a shop assistant, right? A tradesperson, no education, and what was his ambition? To sell, to make the big buck. And the result was very, very bad. So you see, the light is shut out, it's dingy, potted plants, the epitome kind of the middle class home, and just stuff everywhere. So women came along, they said, stop. That has to stop. We need something new. We need principles of design. So they started writing all of these books. And now, this is something that Edith Wharton created at the same time. And Edith Wharton, maybe you've heard about her. She was a novelist and a Pulitzer Prize winner. So you see, these early pioneers of interior design were very clever ladies. And I think that is a huge difference between that. But at the same time, you see, no clutter, how clean it is, how clear it is, the light comes in, totally different. Now again, my old theme, cultural transfer. Do you know these textiles, where these textiles come from? Which country?
India.
India! Yes, ikat fabric. But you see, this is a combination. It's a French daybed, it's a paneling that you would also find in France. It's a combination of elements. And I think it makes us global citizens and appreciate the beautiful crafts traditions from all over the world and make something unique and creative. And it's also actually, it's combining the old and the new. Because this is from a bed, that would have been, very opulent in the 18th century, but he just toned it down and reinterpreted. Now, and interior design is very much about emotion as well. So, atmosphere is an important word. The mood of how, the feeling, all of our senses reacting to it. And I give you the example of this contemporary interior designer, and he's an arts dealer as well, and I'm very intrigued by this because I feel he really conveys atmosphere. And this is again a very contemporary look, at the same time traditional. It's contemporary art, but it's this kind of minimalism that doesn't come from the industry, but from Asia. Wabi-sabi design. I wanted to show you, this is something practical you do as an interior designer, a mood board. And I want to conclude with this. Here you'll find, again, this is something in Jaipur, and it is a combination between East and West. This is the blue and white that you find in Chinese porcelain, that you find in Delft porcelain in the Netherlands. And it's an interpretation of a blue and white room that you would find at the City Palace in Jaipur. But this was designed by a European designer, It's actually Palladio Bar in Jaipur. And so there are, and you see, it's very, very disciplined in the sense of having this, this color scheme with 2 colors only. It's opulent, having many cushions, at the same time disciplined, only these 2 colors. And I wanted to show you that this is India, with so many different aspects of the past and the present. This is the contemporary India, which relies on both a European understanding and an Asian understanding. Here, this is Indian block prints from Rajasthan, reinterpreted with a modern sculptural lamp. This is part of the difficult history of India, the colonial history, which nevertheless is interpreted in a beautiful way, the typical planted chair that is used in a contemporary hotel, and this is actually in Goa, also using the Anglo-Indian furniture in a contemporary way. And this is what I want to conclude with. Interior design is exactly how I thought in the village before I traveled so much. It's about beauty, goodness, and truth. And I hope that you were inspired by this, and if you have any questions you want to ask me, I'm very happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Schmidt, for that really fascinating overview of world design. It was a really brilliant take on things that we very often take for granted.